It's one of those weird days where I don't really feel like I have anything in particular to talk about. The workout in and of itself it was what it was, right? It was fairly difficult. I feel like I pushed myself reasonably hard. I wouldn't say that like I pushed myself to the edge, but it was hard work nonetheless. I was in a bit of a bad mood going into it, which always gives you a nice little, how would I put it? A nice little edge, I guess you could say, in your workout. It's something to kind of bite down on your mouth guard and use to fuel you, to put the work in. And that definitely played a part in the first section of my workout. I did, however, warm up independently today, slightly differently to the way in which my coach had programmed me to do so. Truth be told, I just came across a couple of workouts that I hadn't seen in a long time that were that were relative to squatting and keeping your core braced and warming up your core and using, I can't remember what the term is, but using like off-balanced weights, right? So I was just doing some walkouts with a barbell on my back and a kettlebell tied to it with a resistance band for that movement and added instability, and that was really nice. It really lit up like my oblique area, and to be fair, like my back as well, which was quite nice. Just my entire trunk, I feel like, was just lit up. And interestingly, there was a difference between the sides. So when the weight was on the right hand side, my right hand side, and I was being forced to use the left hand side of my trunk, it was very much the oblique area and the hip area that lit up with a little bit of back. However, when the weight was on the left hand side and I was having to use the right side of my body to light up, I felt I think it's called your trap 3, that part of your trap that is targeted by trap raises or whatever you want to, Y raises. I felt that light up, which was kind of nice and kind of interesting, if you ask me, because that is, I guess, a weakness of mine in some respects. That's an area that I've damaged in the past and have never completely recovered it. Like, it's always been there ever so slightly. So it was very interesting to feel that and feel like my lat and my upper back on my right hand side dominate, which could be a bad thing as well, to be fair, thinking about it. Now that I'm thinking about it out loud, it could be overcompensation, because I've always noticed and felt that I'm very right dominant. The right hand side of my body in some ways is, especially my upper body, is a lot stronger than the left hand side of my body, which is an understandable imbalance because I'm very right hand dominant in all the sports that I play. So it could be an overcompensation and not a weakness. That could be, yeah, maybe. But anyway, I want to play with that, and I really enjoyed that. And I feel like it set me up really well for the squats themselves. Like, going into the squats, I could feel that my trunk was on. It was on. It was lit and working really, really hard. And I like that. It gave me a lot of confidence and stability in the front rack position. My first working set was a little bit messy. It was a little bit rushed, and I wasn't too sure if I was even going to count it as a working set, to be completely honest. Simply because I felt like I had another set at a higher weight in me later on down the line, and it was a messy set. But once I got to the last set, that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, it felt strong. It felt the strongest my front squat has probably felt in a little while, now that I think about it. However, it was very different. I've been doing tempos for a long time. Today was just a pause, which was a strange thing to get my head around from a breathing perspective, because I just got the hang of breathing with tempos. And I tried using straps today, which was, that's not for me. The strain it put on my wrist was too much. There was a point where when I had the 80 kilos, like you can see it in the video, I'm basically holding the bar like this because my wrist just simply can't be stretched into that position, which was a shame. But the 85, 90 and 95 kilos, they all moved well, and I was, they felt good, most importantly. They felt good, and looking back at the footage, they look decent, so I'll take them. The snatch RDLs were a very, very interesting experience. I've never snatched RDL before. However, I feel like it is in many ways, after not really liking it in the first set, after the second set, I feel like that is definitely the RDL variation for me. I have never felt my hamstrings and my glutes, not so much, to be fair. I've got quite sleepy glutes. But I've never felt my hamstrings work so hard in the RDL, and I really, really liked the way in which you have to over exaggerate the drawing back of the bar and keeping it close to you relative to the normal RDL, which I felt anyway just used a lot more of my posterior chain, to the point where even with, 70 kilos, on both sets, I finished feeling a little bit lightheaded. I had to sit down for a moment. Simply because it wasn't necessarily a lot of load, but it was one, a stimulant that my body was not used to, and two, it's a lot of work. It's deceiving. Your upper back and mid back, in my opinion, doesn't do half as much work in a normal RDL as it does in the snatch RDL. So I really enjoyed that, and I hope that is a variation that my coach continues to program me for, because I feel like I connected with that really, really well. I really, really enjoyed that. And I didn't really have much on my mind. Like I alluded to today, I was a bit moody going into the workout, so it was very much a workout to clear the mind and to just be present and to just be in the workout itself and focus on it and forget about everything else for a minute. That was today's work. If you made it this far, thank you very, very much. I appreciate you more than you can imagine, and I shall see you tomorrow.